Hi Math 2 students, today we're going to go over the equation of a circle. So this right here is known as the equation of a circle. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And different parts of this equation tell you things about the circle. So if we're looking at it here, h and k, those values are the center of your circle. All right, so you could say that the center is h comma k, all right? And this value is r squared, it's your radius squared. So if you wanted to find your radius, you would take the square root of this value and that would give you your radius. And kind of as a review, your radius is half your circle and your diameter goes across the whole circle. All right, so let's go ahead and try some of these problems. All right, so here we're going to write the equation of a circle with a center of 13, negative 13, and a radius of 4. All right, so if we're looking here, 13, negative 13 is our h and our k value. And if you notice, we've got negative signs in front of them. So if you remember from parabolas, when you have a negative sign in an equation, that means that you have to flip the sign. So it's going to be x minus, and then our h, which is 13 squared, plus y minus our negative k value. Or I should say, I'm sorry, y minus our k value, which is negative 13 squared. And then that equals our radius squared. So that's going to be 4 squared. So then when we simplify this, we're going to do x minus 13 squared plus y plus 13 squared equals 16. So notice what happened was the value of this changed to negative, the value of this changed to positive, and I just squared this value to get my r squared. So this would be our answer here. All right, then for the next one, they want us to graph this circle. So in order to graph, we first need to identify the radius, or I'm sorry, we first have to identify the center. All right, so the center of my circle here is going to be 1 comma negative 3. I got that from taking this value. This is my x value of my radius, and you have to flip the sign. So it's going to be a positive 1, and then I'm going to take my y value, which is my h value, flip the sign. That gives me 1, negative 3 as the center. So then to find my radius, well, I know that this value is my radius squared, right? If we look here, the equation is supposed to equal our radius squared, right? So if I'm trying to find just my radius, I'm going to take my radius squared, which is 4, and take the square root. So then I get that my radius is 2. All right? So in order to graph this, what you do is you go to your center, and you're going to count 2 up, 2 down, 2 left, 2 right, because that's your radius. So we're going to go 1, 2. We can put a dot there. 1, 2, we'll put a dot there. 1, 2, put a dot there. 1, 2, put a dot there. So what we did is we just drew 4 points that are exactly 2 units away from the center. And you'll see when we connect those, we end up getting, oh, whoa, that was supposed to make a nice circle and it made an ugly, I don't know, octagon or something. All right, there you go. So when we connect those, we end up getting a nice circle with a radius of 2 and a center of 1, negative 3, which is what we had here. Awesome. So let's go ahead and try some examples here. So we'll go ahead, let's see, what would be a good one to start out with? One's a little bit tricky. Let's go ahead, how about let's try number 5. I think is a good one to start out with. Okay, so again, the formula, what they want us to do here, if you read the directions, is it says, use the information provided to write the standard form of the equation of each circle. All right, so that's what we're doing here. This is our standard form of a circle. So we know that we have to get it into the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And our center is h comma k. So I'm going to switch the signs, right? When we put it in there, if it's a positive 8, it becomes a negative 8. It's a positive 14, becomes a negative 14. And then I set that equal to my radius squared. Well, my radius squared is going to be 4 squared, which is 16. So that's what I get there. All right, next, let's try this one. This one looks harder, but it's really not. It just has fractions for the center. So again, we have to plug it into this formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals our radius squared. The center is always h comma k. And again, when you put it into the equation, you're going to flip the sign. So you're going to get x plus 31 over 2 squared plus y minus 1/2 squared. So notice our negative 31 over 2 became a positive, and our positive 1/2 became a negative. And then we have to set that equal to our radius squared. So we take our radius and we square it. And that would be our answer there. All right, now let's go ahead and try this one. So again, our center is h comma k, and they gave us our radius, right? So we're going to do x, and then you flip the sign, minus 11 squared plus y minus 9 squared equals, and then again, we have to square this. So our radius is equal to 2 root 15, right? So if we want to get our radius squared, we have to square that. So you can do it by hand. When you square 2, right, you could square the 2 and square root 15. When you square root 15, it just becomes 15. So we would get that our radius squared is equal to 4 times 15, which is going to give us 60. Now, if that was confusing, you can just do this on your calculator. What you do is you take your radius, and you're just going to plug in 2 root 15. And notice how I put parentheses around this. You want to make sure you have parentheses around the whole thing. You square it, and you get 60. And that's your equation. So now let's go ahead and see if we can graph these. All right. So again, here we were coming up with the equation from the center and the radius. Now they're going to give us the equation and we have to graph it. So let's take a look at number 13. If you look at 13, this might look a little unfamiliar. You're like, what the heck, right? There's no h and k. Well, what happens is when your h and k are 0, or I should say h or k, right? X minus 0 plus y minus 0 is going to give you x squared, y squared, like that, right? So that means that here our center is 0, 0. And we know that this is our radius squared. So to get our radius, we take the square root and we get 2. So we're going to go plot our center at 0, 0. And our radius is 2. So we're going to go up 2, to the right 2, down 2, and to the left 2. And we get our nice little circle. All right, let's try another one. Let's see, do they have, of course. All right, let's go ahead and try number 14. All right, so again, let's find our center. So see if you could figure out what the center would be here. So the center of this guy should be 1, 1, right? You have to flip the signs. So we get a center of 1. And then the radius here is a little bit tricky, right? Our radius squared is equal to 29, right? This is our radius squared. So to get our radius, we have to take the square root of 29, and that's not very easy to do. It's kind of a gross number. So we plug that in, and you should get 5.385, which this is totally doable, right? It looks scary, but it's not bad. Since we've got our radius and our center, we can go plot our center at 1, 1. And then instead of counting a nice number, we just have to plot about 5.3. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I got to go up like 0.3. So that's going to put me at about right there. Same thing here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we got to go 0.3, which is about right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 0.3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 0.3. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you should be able to kind of guesstimate where it would be. Ooh, can you tell I messed up on that? I went a line down. Sorry. It should be 1. Hopefully you noticed that. 2, 3, 4, 5.3. That's where that should be. You could tell that was off. All right, and then there we go. Looking good. So that is our graphed circle. All right, let's go ahead and try one more at least. Let's do number 15. So first I want you to tell me what the center is. What is my center here? My center is -1, -3. And then what is my radius? So if my radius squared is 16, my radius has to be 4. So then we're going to go ahead and plot this. We do -1, 1, 2, 3, -3. And then we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we just connect them. And it's done.